Hello, welcome to our weekly look ahead at the markets. And it's a story of core inflation. We saw the UK core number rise to 7.1% last week. That was the highest in 40 years. And we have a similar story coming up this week with regards to the US, the PC core number coming in on Friday. Now that a month ago it edged up from 4.6 to 4.7%. In Japan last week, again, core reading for inflation at its highest in 40 years. So there's a real problem here for the central banks. They're facing very sticky core inflation. Headline numbers have come down because of base effects and because energy prices have stabilized significantly. So the headline numbers is declining. There's winning on some fronts, but on that core reading that's driven by wages, by services, that's remaining very sticky, around anywhere between 4 to 7%. That's a problem for the central banks, and I think it's going to mean that they're not going to get back to 2% inflation. They're not going to try and throw multiple rate hikes at trying to move core inflation from 4 to 2%. It's just simply not worth it. Too much breaks in the economy. You saw the Bank of England last week doing that 50 basis point hike to 5%. That, for me, is the recession hike. It's the one that says, look, we can't get inflation under control without creating a recession, so we're going to engineer that slowdown in the economy, and that's where we're heading in the UK, unfortunately. So coming up this week, we're looking at these inflation numbers for Australia, for Japan, for Germany on Thursday. They'll be important. We have seen producer prices coming down quite sharply in Germany, and then that core PCE reading for the US on Friday. That's going to be the big one this week. So lots going on out there. Market's been trading a bit sideways, if you like, a little bit of a down week after some positive moves earlier sort of through to May, where we saw the DAX at a record high. We saw really strong gains for the Nasdaq and the S&P, driven by all these magnificent 7 stocks, the big AI big hitters. But a bit of a pullback, a bit of a pause into June, and last week was a little bit weaker for the major indices. Dollar coming back on Friday, crude oil lower on Friday, so a risk of end to the week, and we'll look to see whether or not these inflation numbers signal that regime shift that we're looking at, which is that a risk of the inflation risk now moves to growth risk, and that's really what we're looking at over the coming days. Thanks for watching.